the next question is from Grand UK. Are there plans for audio-video processing in Resonite so that more full-feature productions can take place in Resonite, like compositing video camera into another camera view? Yes. I definitely love Resonite to be more of a production tool. So because our overall goal is having the social layer as something that's like a sort of foundation, it's a basis, but you can do a lot on top of it. It's not just if you want to, you can just hang out and socialize. That's perfectly valid. But you can also collaborate with other people. You can work with them, and you can already kind of do that. Building worlds in here. But the more functionality we add, you can use Resonite to build and produce things for outside of Resonite. So one of the things I'm excited for example, is the audio DSP, because the audio DSP, it'll let you build a virtual music audio production studio, and you can collaborate. We could be here with Syra, we could be just building together, and we can be bringing some sound effects and plopping them in, and then we're passing them through filters, and maybe somebody integrates we have a keyboard, so you can sample some things and feed it into the system, and it makes sound, and just make sounds and music. And if you want to save your progress, you literally just save the world. Or maybe you build a really cool filter, you package it into a custom node, and you can share it with the community, and other people can use it in their own productions. So there's gonna be a lot of great synergy with stuff like that. The other feature that I feel is gonna help with that is the timeline, because with timeline, and I kind of went into it deeper in previous resonances. There's a video kind of covering it in depth. But for example, with timeline, the way it helps, with audio production is you can maybe plop sound effects on it. You have you have your timeline, and say you have a sound here. There's a sound, and you can you can plop it here, or maybe you cut it, so you cut a piece of it, or maybe you have another sound, here, and you kind of composite them together. Maybe you duplicate this one, you kind of play it multiple times or something, or stretch it, or do whatever you want. You can place all kinds of things on the timeline, and you say, I'm gonna render this out into a new sound. So there's gonna be tools that are gonna do that, that are gonna work with the timeline and get a new sound effect, and then you export this and use it wherever. Or maybe with the timeline, the other way it can work with the audio thing is use it to sample things. So you have for example these are keys. And maybe and this then for example, each row we have a thing that's generating audio, and maybe this one goes into this one, this one goes into this one, and you mix it together, and you use the timeline as a sequencer for audio production. And the goal is to essentially add the timeline as sort of a building block, a base that lots of other systems then can be built around. And it's gonna kind of sort of serve as a glue that kind of glues those systems together, and that way you get lots of really cool synergies between all the functionality in Resonite. Same thing video processing. Video processing is a little bit trickier because we would need to integrate some libraries for really efficient video decoding, but it's something I would want us to have at some point in time. Because same with the video timeline, you can just place video clips, and maybe this gets composited somewhere. You have a video clip here, because right now with the video player, it doesn't have much control. We cannot say decode this exact video frame. If you have your timeline head, and you're moving it around, if it's here, we need this exact video frame to be outputted. And we don't have that level of control right now, so we would need something more robust for that, and that will take some time. But if you have that functionality, then we can take this and and maybe you actually have a thing it used to be that with old movies, they would actually have a method where it's for example some kind of terrain, and you literally put the camera. You literally put this in front of the camera, and imagine this is, kind of pretty terrain or something. You put this in front of camera, and you film this. You're essentially doing real-world compositing by just, layering things. And maybe, you know, you could have like another thing, you know, that's in front of your camera over here, and maybe, you know, this one, and there's like something that's moving this in front of the camera. And if you look at it, you know, from a different viewpoint, if I switch this, you know, it's literally just things that are being moved in front of the camera that are compositing, you know, this image. So what we could do is like make tools where it's easy to set up a contraption where I pull a thing. We can make it I keep pulling a thing. Just grab this like this. Madame. There we go. We could like make a thing like where you have a video on the feed. Maybe, you know, there's a texture in the world, and, you know, and this video actually goes into this, and then you have a camera here that's looking at it, and then you have like, you know, something behind, and maybe you have like another layer over here, and there's another track, and maybe you composite, you put like a filter in here in between, so you can sort of physically composite things together in virtual reality. And you can also, you know, collaborate with other people and do lots of other cool stuff. So I think there's a lot of like really exciting workflows that can be unlocked with these features. And I would love, like, you know, to have like Resonite be something that can be used for, like, you know, collaborative productions where you use it as your, you know, virtual studio, and maybe, you know, you make like videos with it, like, you know, that are not even relevant to Resonite. You just use it as a tool which gives you, you know, real-time collaboration, like, you know, over the internet. It gives you sort of embodiment in the virtual world, and it gives kind of more physicality to that, like, you know, whole production editing process where, like, you know, you're in a world and you're kind of like doing these things in a way it actually used to be done, or like similar, where, you know, they used to actually literally put things in front of camera to composite, like, you know, multiple effects together. And now it's kind of, you know, all digital, so like you kind of lose that like physical analogy. But like with VR, you can kind of bring that physical analogy while keeping, you know, getting the benefits of the physicality of it. So yes, I would definitely love, like, you know, for these things to kind of become more of a thing. The audio one is probably going to happen way sooner than the video, because, you know, audio is easier to process. Video, like, we need those, you know, more advanced libraries.